You are a seasoned IT project manager and you have finished some projects already. But have you ever felt like there is a gray area in the processes between the project start and when you begin implementing the first feature? Some magic happens here and usually it's not structured or formalized. That's because you don't have one tool that big projects have, and this tool glues multiple aspects of a project together. So in this video I'll explain what this tool is, why it's important, and how to use it. And most importantly, how any project can benefit from it, even small ones. But you must be thinking right now, I don't see a problem here, why do I need to fix something? That's probably because you lead small projects where inefficiencies have a small impact. However, if you want to be a great project manager, if you want to lead complex projects with big impact, you need to ensure you use resources and budget efficiently. And let me illustrate it. Imagine you run a small in-house project. You meet project owner, the person who was assigned to champion this initiative. You discuss the project goal and identify the next steps. And for example, you need some technical expertise, so you involve a senior software engineer. As a result, only 3 of you can provide the project requirements. However, you can easily discuss any priorities or conflicts on a 10-minute call. Now imagine you have a big project that impacts an enterprise with thousands of employees, and suddenly you need input from dozens of subject matter experts from different departments and functions. You still have a project champion on your side, but additionally dozens of managers, directors, and C-suite executives have something to say about your project, even though you didn't ask for their opinion. As a result, you get hundreds of requirements for the product or service you must create. However, you have a budget to implement only half of them. Obviously, if you focus on the wrong requirements, you'll waste time and resources, and most importantly, you will fail the project in the long run. That's why, to help you triage, prioritize, and track critical requirements, you need a requirements traceability matrix. So now it's critical to understand the RTM, what goes into this tool, and most importantly, how to use it. The requirements traceability matrix is usually a spreadsheet. It lists all the requirements and connects them to different aspects of a project. Let's examine the typical columns of a requirements traceability matrix and you'll see what I mean. On a big project, you always need a unique ID to ensure you point to the correct requirements. Then you need a short descriptive title for a requirement. That's quite straightforward for now. Next, big projects usually have one business goal and multiple measurable objectives for the project. The next 2 columns are exactly for that purpose: project goal and objective. And I'll explain how it works in a minute. After that, we want to capture who provided this requirement. At the very least, you want to capture the full name of the requester. And in some cases, you may also want to capture the requester's department or user group. Big projects usually have a work breakdown structure. This tool helps identify all the tangible pieces we must create as a part of the project. So we want to connect each requirement to a specific deliverable. That's why we have a WBS index here. After that we have a column for test cases. That's because we want to build a quality product from the beginning. So we think in advance about critical scenarios in which our product should reliably perform. These are the main columns of a requirements traceability matrix. However, you can connect requirements to any other aspect of the project. For example, it might be a good idea to include links to requirements documentation or UI designs here. And if you work with Scrum, you can track the sprints in which this requirement is finished and which team is working on it. Obviously, that's a lot of information to capture and maintain. That's why a requirements traceability matrix must provide strong benefits to justify all those efforts. So let's review some of the real-world use cases. Imagine you lead a project aimed at introducing AI search capabilities to a website with stock images. AI should help users find relevant images faster. The stated goal of this project is to improve user experience with AI capabilities. And also, imagine we have a measurable objective that comes from a budget constraint. We must keep the project budget under $0.5 million, including maintenance cost in 2024. Next, we collect two requirements from different stakeholders. The first one says, use AI semantic capabilities to extend search query with synonyms. The second one suggests using AI to describe each image and use the description as metadata for search. With some research, you will find that feeding millions of images into an AI tool will cost about $2 million. On the other hand, extending search query with synonyms is very cheap. Both requirements would help us meet the project's goal. However, the first one falls under the measurable objective, and the second one does not. That's why we can justify parking this requirement as a good idea for a future release. The same two columns help you avoid gold plating. Imagine that a stakeholder also wants to upgrade the underlying technology stack within the same project. Is the upgrade a good idea? Well, maybe, but project owners allocated $500,000 to improve user experience. Does the upgrade of the technology stack help us reach the business goals? Well, no. If you find these examples useful, please click the like button right now, because it will help me a lot. Thank you in advance. Okay, here's another use case. And now imagine you lead a team that works on ongoing product development. Your product owners generate more ideas than you can implement. So you can add a column called priority, and now your RTM will help you plan your future releases. Next, you can imagine conflicting requirements that come from different stakeholders. Well, first of all, RTM allows you to identify those conflicts. Second, you can't please all the stakeholders, but you may decide to follow the one who has the biggest impact on the project. So you can see here who requested the requirement, and you can cross-reference your stakeholder management plan. The next application of RTM comes when you complete all the required information and analyze the requirements. Then RTM helps you to keep all stakeholders on the same page. By showing these results of your analysis and justification, you'll be able to control their expectation if something doesn't get into the project. You can also track project's progress here. For example, you can track the progress of requirements preparation and the work of your business analyst. Likewise, you can control the quality assurance team's work by checking the connected test cases. And in the long run, you can also mark all the requirements that your clients verified and accepted right in this document. And again, it's just the tip of the iceberg. You can connect and track all aspects of a project in this one tool. So that's why I believe it's a glue of project management. Unfortunately, many stakeholders will resist using an RTM in an IT project, but it doesn't mean that you can't use the same concepts and get the same benefits. So let me share some insights that can help you. Let's imagine you run a software development project with Scrum and you use Jira. So your primary format for requirements is a user story or epics. In a typical requirements traceability matrix, you would list your epics as requirements and then you would fill out the rest of the information. But detach yourself from the spreadsheet representation. In essence, the majority of these fields are labels that allow you to group and filter requirements in the matrix. And I think you guessed it already. You can use custom fields in Jira to collect the same information. For example, you can add a field to capture the requester's name. You can also use tags to map a user story to a project's objective. Likewise, you may take a different approach. You can use native epic themes or initiatives as parent items and make them the project objectives. After that, you can create a query or use the structure plugin to replicate the spreadsheet's look and feel. So you literally just replicated the requirements traceability matrix in your Jira without creating a separate tool. And here's an interesting fact. More than 65,000 companies actually use Jira. It means there is a strong chance it will be your main tool as well. So if you want to be a great project manager, you need to master Jira on a deeper level. And a project manager who knows how to administer Jira becomes an irreplaceable asset for any organization. That's why I recommend you watch this video right now. You will learn everything you need to know about Jira so that you can explore it on a deeper level. Click the video now and I'll see you there.